and that's me, and that's me, and that's me. All those pictures are me. That's me, and that's me. And that's you, and that's me.
Yeah.
That's all the pictures of me.
I definitely think some people have a really hard time wrapping their heads around what my gender is. People can't see a gender in between. Initially, when I came out, I think my friends, like in university, kind of deemed me as like a lesbian, and there was a lot of negative connotations around lesbian because when I was in high school, there was somebody that was out, and the word lesbian was just like this thing that the other kids used as like a derogatory slur, and like it was just always like in this like dirty tone, like a lesbian, you know. And I think when I went to university and people, they just automatically put me in that category. I think I accepted that that was what other people saw me as, but it wasn't a term that I fully felt comfortable with. And I think a lot of that came from, you know, past experiences. And then as I like progressed through university, and then when I came home actually, that's when I came out as transgender. So when I went to college in Thunder Bay, I started like transitioning. So I started, so initially I was like signed up for surgery. Like I wanted to get on the surgery list for like top surgery. And then my doctor told me that I had to go on hormones in order to get the surgery, which like I didn't realize at the time. So anyways, I went on hormones, though I didn't want to, but because I wanted the surgery so badly, I was like, okay, this is like totally worth it. So that's why I have like a beard and my voice is a lot deeper and stuff, is from the hormones. But then after I got surgery, it was about a 3-year wait to get the surgery. It was actually when I met Joelle, just like 3 months after I met them. I got my surgery date in January, it was January 18th, 2017. And through that whole process of like being on hormones and getting surgery and like being transgender and like identifying, like not wanting to identify as a man, because like I don't see myself as a man at all. Like I didn't go on the hormones and I didn't get surgery to be like seen as a man, but more so to feel like comfortable as Win, like as myself, as just like this is where I'm comfortable.
I knew I was gay from a very young age, like probably like 9 or 10, or even before that. But I was raised Catholic, and so I thought that it was wrong. And I didn't have any like examples of it in my life. So like when people say that like representation matters, it's because like if you grow up and you like, maybe you know what being gay means or whatever, but you don't actually see any gay people like living their lives happily, or nobody that you know is like friends with any gay people, or like when people talk about gay people, they talk about them negatively. And so even though I knew from a really young age, it took a really long time for me to actually be like accepting of it and okay with it.
I think when I was like a young person, like still closeted in high school, there were a lot of, you didn't see a lot of images of like healthy queer relationships. You didn't see a lot of images of positive movies, of these things that like give you hope. You know, I think if you are like a cisgender straight person, like those stories are everywhere. There are rom-coms everywhere, you know, and you see like straight people like just magically finding the person that you're gonna be with for the rest of your life, and it's like a happy fairy tale ending, you know. And I think there aren't enough of those images for queer people, especially like queer youth. And when I was growing up, there was like none. And I just remember feeling very scared that like, yeah, I would end up alone. And I remember that was one of my mom's fears, was kind of like, you're gonna be alone your whole life. like you want to choose that path to like be alone your whole life, like it's a long time, you know? And so I think even like for her and like the images she saw of LGBT two-spirit people is just like this very sad story. And you know, when Joelle and I got married, and like when Meg, who's actually our friend, was the person who married us, and when she said like, "You're married," I just remember this like sense of like relief of just like, whoa, like I'm not gonna be alone forever, you know, like the story that I never saw, the happy ending and like all this stuff, it's just like it's not how my life was gonna be. And I just felt a really great sense of like relief and a lot of love, you know. I think finding love as a queer person, especially if you live in like a small town, you're just like, how am I ever gonna find somebody, you know? A lot of people, like if you can't even come out, you know, but I do think I got really lucky. I have this amazing family, and I feel very lucky and privileged. Like we have a home, and we have a dog and a cat, and I have like a stable job, and Joelle gets to write, and I don't know, we have friends that, you know, are like queer or like not queer, like allies, and yeah, and our daughter's healthy and happy.
I'm hungry. This makes me hungry.
It's amazing to be in a happy relationship. I can't believe it sometimes. It seems so unlikely that two people who grew up like 2 hours away from each other and never met and both moved to completely like across the country from each other. Like I was in Vancouver, Wynn was in Toronto for like almost a decade, and neither of us ever intended to come back to Northwestern Ontario. And then for both of us to end up back at the same time and to meet and to be like so like good for each other, it just seems really, yeah, it just seems so unlikely, but then it almost makes it seem like it was all sort of like meant to work out that way. Being in a long-term relationship and having a family, it's really awesome, and I feel very, very lucky.